In the name of government efficiency, we are continuing to fire, rehire, and fire the exact same people on a scale that has rarely been seen before, if ever. So you don't treat workers that way. You probably know this, but even in the private sector, they're not treating workers that way. And definitely, you haven't seen it in the public sector, not until now, at least. And we're not just talking about a few people here, a few people there. We're not even talking about 100 here or 100 there. We're talking about thousands of people. And to say that it has created a lot of confusion would be an understatement. But for a lot of people, they say this is the intent. Not just confusion, trauma. It is the intent to ensure people understand the simple fact that you are not wanted in the federal workforce. So let's take a look at a few examples that have recently popped up. We got a person over at the CDC, IT specialist. Second RIF notice within 6 months. Not only impacts her, but her entire team. That means the first RIF notice hit, and then they rescinded it. They're like, oh, wait, hold on. We made a mistake. Come back to our organization. You're a valued member. Come on back. We need you to work with the team. And then, a few months later, boom, another one hits. Then we got a person in the Commerce Department, right? Federal worker over there. She receives a RIF notice. Do you know where she was at? She wasn't at home. She was in the hospital. Why was she in the hospital? It's because of something called a stress-induced seizure. That's when your nervous system is pushed to its limit. Your brain short circuits. You lose control of your body. What causes that? Trauma causes that. Emotional and or physical abuse causes that. And it could potentially impact the rest of her life. Then over at HUD, we have somebody getting a RIF notice while they're on maternity leave. So they're trying to take care of the little baby. They got a little baby to take care of, 3-4 months old. They're there, I don't even know why this individual was checking their email. They should be focused on, the baby and time off, family. That should be the main focus. But no, they're checking the email. Probably some anxiety there. Can't blame her. She's checking the email and gets the RIF notice. So at a time where you need financial security, you need to make sure you have a robust insurance plan for the little bitty baby. You're not getting that. Now you got to figure out, where am I going to go? How do I ensure I still have insurance? When is my last paycheck? What am I going to do? So if they target individuals on maternity leave, that means everybody's 100% free game. Nobody is safe. And aside from double RIF notices going out or sending RIF notices to people that are on leave, we also have furloughed federal workers and accepted federal workers that are soon to miss their first full paycheck. So most people, they were able to get a partial paycheck. But now we got a full paycheck being gone. There are some laws that are being proposed to resolve this issue. But of course, Congress is split, because why wouldn't they be? You got one part of Congress, the Republicans, they want to pay the accepted workers, the accepted federal workers, the people that are coming into work and they're working and they're not getting paid. But the Democrats are like, well, hey, wait a minute. What about the furloughed workers? You got 700,000 of them. You got almost 1 million furloughed workers. Shouldn't they get back pay as well? So that's a debate. They haven't reached an agreement with that. And we still have the federal judge with the restraining order, temporary restraining order, blocking most of these RIFs from 5 unions. If the federal workforce in an agency is not covered by one of those unions, they're fair game. They could be RIF. They could be laid off. So all of that could provide short-term relief, but we've seen this story play out. We saw it with the probationary purge. Same judge, Northern California, restraining order. It's the same thing. It's the same narrative. And what happens at the end? I'm going to spoil the ending for you, because it gets to the Supreme Court, and then the administration gets the green light, and these layoffs happen anyway. So that's probably what's going to be waiting for us. And then the remaining federal workers that are working in their agencies, I shouldn't have to say it, but they are overloaded with 2 or 3 employees' workload on top of their pre-existing workload. It's become a crushing workload, and it has impacts. If you look at HUD, pretty much all the fair housing investigators, they're gone. They received RIF notices. And why is that a big deal? Discriminatory practices, what does that even mean? So here's the deal. When it comes to discriminating, you can discriminate on a litany of reasons, but let's talk about race for a little bit. You have landlords, you have companies that rent out units, rent out apartments, and sometimes they discriminate. So much so that last couple of years, every year there's over 20,000 complaints. And I've met landlords that have this mentality of, hey, I'm only renting to this one race. I'm comfortable with this race and I'm only going to rent to this race, whether that's Latin, Asian, pick a race that exists. These complaints are filed for a reason. And all the work in progress on that's pretty much done. It's not happening right now. Then you can go ahead and look at the national parks. Some of them are open, but they're understaffed, which means potential safety risk. It means the trash piles up and creates an unpleasant environment. And it means also long lines. Then FAA, TSA, airport. Shouldn't have to say more. Airports are congested. It's already kind of difficult. When everything is working perfectly, you will time from time have your plane delayed or rescheduled completely. It happens all the time. Now it's happening more. So much so is causing pain. And I think this is what really wakes up Congress, that the shutdown has to come to an end at some point. Moving on from that, USDA SNAP benefits. Now, if you're watching this, maybe you rely on SNAP, maybe you do not. But SNAP is in jeopardy. And what happens when millions of people are impacted and they do not receive the food benefit from SNAP? Well, the next step is going to the food pantries. Going to the food pantries, they'll typically see like 2 or 3 times more people come in there. They'll be overwhelmed. The food will be gone. Then you rely on the charities. That'll only work to a certain extent. And eventually we're going to have more and more hungry people. I mean, that's the only way to explain it. On another note, when it comes to these mass layoffs, I want to single out the probationary purge, because what occurred in the probationary purge is you had young, fresh talent when it comes to IT and artificial intelligence, cybersecurity. You had IT workers that were fresh-faced. They were young, out of the university, and they were on probation. And they got caught up on the probationary purge. Thousands of people did. So it's really difficult to understand how sincere the federal government is when they want talent in the IT sector, because they still say that they do. I mean, look at the OPM director's interview recently. He says that there's a need for IT talent. You can look today, there's over 100 positions in 2210, 1550. So there is a demand, maybe not in your agency, but there's clearly a demand in some agencies when it comes to IT tech talent. So you are purging fresh university graduates, and at the same time, you're trying to recruit them. So it's a real conflicting message, and it impacts the ability of the federal government to be able to recruit talent in the IT field, any field really. So in addition to this, if you're on the job search, maybe federal government's out the window, maybe you're looking at contractors, but they're having a hard time too. If you're trying to improve your resume, your possibilities out there, one way you could potentially do it is to take courses in order to attain a certificate. With that certificate, you can clearly show the hiring manager or the individual that's interviewing you, like, hey, I did something to improve myself. I am staying proactive in my industry. A lot of companies, they will give you a certificate if you give them money. But what about certificates for free? If you're interested in getting certificates in project management, in AI, cloud computing, if you're interested in getting it completely free, I want you to check this video out next. Stay updated by signing up to the free newsletter down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.